Sometimes you just have to let go. So this is me letting go. I do not like this painting. These are some of my favorite colors, black, white, and yellow. But this composition, the shapes, just do not work to me. So I decided to repurpose this canvas and start all over again with colors that have been on my mind. I don't know if it's spring or what, or I just need a change, but I've been gravitating more towards bright colors that stay bright. Usually I will mute the colors on the canvas, but the last two paintings that I did, and there's another video with a pink painting, same thing, I kept the colors bright and vibrant. So I'm working in different shades of blue, no particular order, just going with whatever feels good at the moment, and also that light violet purple color, just trying to cover up that painting underneath and get a whole new start. This is one of the reasons that I think that painting really has appealed to me as I've gone on this rediscovery of creativity. It's meditative, it's calming, but also seeing those colors go down on the canvas or the paper is just stimulating at the same time. So it just feels good, and the way the paint feels, the way the brush moves, feels calming and stimulating all at once. So right now, as you can see, it looks messy. It looks like just a lot of random brush strokes, random movements, and that's exactly what it is. Just let yourself play on the canvas or paper. The composition will come. As you continue to mix the colors, you'll start to get a pattern in your mind the more and more layers you add. So if you're starting an abstract, don't get discouraged. Sometimes you have to keep going. Even when it looks like it's done, but you just don't feel right, let yourself play. Let the colors inspire you, and you'll see the pattern and composition just appear before you, and have fun and enjoy it. So at this point, I can see myself kind of getting a general idea of the shape that I want, and it actually follows the shape of that painting underneath that I'm not too fond of. And looking at the painting sitting here, it really does follow that basic shape. There's a lot of texture underneath with that painting underneath, so I just kind of followed the texture that was already there as a guide. Another thing that you'll discover as you start to paint is how you like to lay the paint down. I've seen some artists who do a really thin wash, and I just don't know how to do that. I tend to gravitate to really thick brush strokes and amounts of paint because I like the texture, especially as it dries. I like the texture to stay there and to add depth. But you'll discover that as you start to paint yourself. You can tell here that I really just wanted to paint. I just wanted to get to the painting. I'm using my sketchbook as a palette. I couldn't be bothered to take out my palette, clean it off, and mix paint or anything like that. I just wanted to get the paint down on the canvas. So use whatever you have is the lesson there. So here's something that is really good to remember with abstract. You're going to gravitate to certain brush rotations and shapes, but it's good to mix it up. So here I'm kind of doing a squiggly circling motion, where usually I'll do a downward motion, is what I usually gravitate to. But I tried to mix it up in this painting, create a more organic look, where usually I have a very structured look to my abstract paintings. They're very, I call them cityscapes. They look like looking at the city at night. But with this one, I wanted more organic shapes, so I went for more circular motions. But experiment with what shapes and rotations and brush strokes feel good for you. So we're nearing the end of laying down this initial layer of paint. This is part one. There is a second video to show how I added some more details using Posco markers and more layering over the painting. But I'm really satisfied with the color combinations, the blues and the violet, and even that deep green. Really satisfied with how it looks. It looks organic, just appealing to my eye. So very pleased with how it turned out. I'm glad I let go of that painting that I didn't like and started over. So that wraps up part one of this painting. Stay tuned for the next video where I show more details that I added and more layering of this acrylic painting on canvas. And thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up and subscribe.